What's going on, everyone? Welcome back. Today we're going to be working on the Outcast 8S. Last week we were at the quarry and we did some awesome jumps.
Oh yeah!
With those awesome jumps and some bad crashes.
Ooh, we cracked something. That's not good.
No, God! No, God, please, no! No!
And in one of those crashes, we broke a suspension arm. The front left one here. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to fix it. Alright guys, so here's the Outcast. We're going to flip her over, take a look at the damage. She is a bit dirty. I blew her off with the air compressor, but it was pretty dusty and sandy where I was flying. I have not really given it a good look over since that run yet, so there may be some other damage that I'm not aware of. But as you can see right here is where the swing arm cracked. So we're going to start taking everything apart to fix that. And I do see a little bit of a rounded area here. I'm not even sure if that's supposed to be like that, but I am under the assumption that there may be some more damage because we were doing some big jumps and landing pretty hard. So we'll go ahead and start getting all the tools together. We'll start with our toolkit. Some T-handle wrenches, 12-volt driver, blowtorch. No, I'm just kidding. Hopefully we don't need that. But we do have some suspension arms. I did buy 2 of these since they work on the Kraton 8S. They're the same parts, they're interchangeable. The Kraton's sitting right there. So I imagine I'm going to break more of these in the future. So I picked up another pair. So first thing I'm going to do is remove the wheel. I do have the tool that came with this for taking off the wheel nuts, but it is not the nicest tool. I like to actually use a socket, and here's a quick tip for you. The 24mm hex nuts, or wheel nuts, whatever you want to call them, a 15/16 socket actually works on them as well. It's almost exactly the same size. It actually fits it a little bit more snug than a 24mm does. So let's start by removing the front bumper here. If you don't have any of these hex bits, they are awesome. I got a set of these when I got my first RC car. I was using the dynamite ones. These are actually very nice too, but these in a drill for RC projects, obviously there is a lot of screwing to do by hand, so you don't need a Milwaukee fuel driver, but anything will do. This is a little bit of overkill, very powerful, but I am a Milwaukee fanboy. If you see all those there, let me turn the lights on. Yeah, I have a bit of a tool problem and I love black and red, but we'll get going. I'll fast forward through this and you guys can catch up. One of these magnetic trays comes in a lot of handy when you're taking a bunch of screws out. I do like to put all the parts back in the pieces as I take them out, just so they don't get mixed up. There's a lot of different screws on here, a lot of different sizes. This looks like it is 2.5 millimeters, that is. And the big ones down here look like they're 4. I don't have any 4mm hex drivers, so we're gonna have to use the T-handle wrenches. I could use an adapter. I did get a adapter, so I can just put this in the drill, because this will be a lot quicker. Oh God, I love power tools. So this should come off now. We'll give this a good cleaning while we're in there with everything. We're gonna flip this back around. I do want to get one of these for the Kraton. I believe it would fit on there. It looks like all the holes match up. I have broke each side of these, but this does provide somewhat of a bumper on the front of it. I did crash this pretty hard, and obviously the front of them are gonna take a big impact, so I think it would be beneficial to buy this piece, put it on the Kraton. All right guys, so I got all the wheels taken off just to make it a little more easy to move around. I did take off the front bumper, and I do believe the next thing we're gonna do is loosen this screw right here, which looks to be like a 4mm, and I believe that's a set screw right here to pull this shaft out, which I think once I pull that out, I'll be able to
take the suspension arm right out, I do need to remove this from here, and I do need to remove the shock screw as well. So we'll get started with that. Going to use a 8mm to remove this, and we're going to use a 6mm right in here to remove the ball from the knuckle. And I apologize if I'm using any of the wrong terms. I am a bit newer to RC vehicles. I've been flying RC planes for years, but the vehicles are a little new to me, so all the little names of the parts I'm not 100% sure. But I'm learning as I'm going. But I will say, they are very fun. I don't know how I waited so long to get an RC truck or car. I got my first one about 3 months ago, and now I have 4 of them. Not small ones either. I got the Fire Team, Arrma Felony, Arrma Kraton 8S, and Arrma Outcast 8S, and they are a blast. Alright, so we got that removed. Gonna have to find a way to get that aluminum piece off. I don't know if it's just pressed on there, but we'll have to find out. Got the drive shaft out. 4mm to loosen this. And I believe if I use the pliers, I should be able to just pull this pin out. Voila. That's straight. So there you can see where it's cracked. Part of it broke off, part of this cracked. I'm actually surprised how durable a lot of these parts are. It's pretty crazy that they hold up to what they do. Yes, I broke something, but as you saw in the video, there was quite a bit of impact coming down on this. And now when I come down here, you can see that this is bent. It goes down like this. I am not sure if it's supposed to be like that. I'll grab a straight edge so you can see. So there's quite a bend there, but it looks pretty even, but I have a feeling it's not supposed to be like that. So the only thing I can do is compare it to the Kraton, see if it's like that. So looking at the Kraton, there is a bend like that right there. So that's good news. It's not bent. Well, at least not more than it's supposed to be. This bumper is right here, but you can see if you pull that line out, there is quite a bend in it right there. So that's good news. I was starting to think that I may have bent the chassis, which obviously is a lot of work to fix. Much more work than just swapping out the swing arm. So here we have the new one here. Not the new one. Here we have the new one here. And we'll go ahead and start putting it all back together. Before I start putting everything back on, I am going to clean this out a little bit with some compressed air. Cover your ears, this may be loud. These bits I got off Amazon. They're from Apex RC, I believe. I've been using them for a few months now. They seem awesome, really well built, really nice sharp tips on them. I will put a link in the description to these if you want to pick them up. It is an affiliate link, so I do appreciate the support. So first thing I have to do is get this red piece off here. It seems like it's just a compression fit. I am going to try grabbing it with a clamp and see if I can twist it off. Well, the clamp didn't work to get this red piece off, but I do have a piece of Dicem right here. This is like medical grade non-skid, non-slip material. It's a beautiful red piece of anodized aluminum. I don't want to scratch it, so I'm going to try using water pump pliers, wrap this around it, and we'll see if we can twist it off. Beautiful. And I got a couple little marks in it, but it's not bad. Rubber mallet. Voila, there we go. So if you guys want to know how to get those off, non-slip piece of material, water pump pliers. All right, so we got to get this back through the knuckle. Once we get those threads started, it should go right in. I'm going to put the suspension bolt back in. And again, like I said earlier in the video, if you're using a tool like this, you want to be careful. These things have a lot of power, especially this fuel line from Milwaukee. There's 2 speeds on here. I try to keep it in the first speed when I'm doing these just because you can over torque. The screws going into the plastics, if they're going into metal, it's not as much of an issue, but into these plastics compared to metal, they are very soft. and you'll likely strip it out. So you just want to be careful when you're using one of these. But they do make the job a lot quicker and more enjoyable. All right, so we got to get this lined back up in here. And at the same time, we got to get this down in here. There may be a better way to do this, and if there is, let me know in the comments. So that's back in there. I'm gonna put this shaft back in. Rubber mallet. There we go. There we go. Had to get past that part. This takes a little bit of twisting. All right, that feels good. Grab our steering knuckle screw, set screw. Don't know what it's called again, I apologize. Get this back in, tighten it, back it off a tad just to allow a little bit of room for this to move. Again, that's a moving part that moves every time you turn, so you don't want to make that too tight to create too much friction. Tighten this set screw back up. We flipped her back over, and it looks like we have everything back to how it's supposed to be. The shafts line up, nothing is out of place. Everything appears to be aligned. I do want to check this over, make sure everything else is okay on here. Again, I just did one quick look over. I noticed the suspension arm was broke when I was jumping, but that was the first thing that stuck out. There could be some other damage. Again, as you see in the videos, we were jumping pretty far. It's actually quite incredible that these things can take such a beating and still keep going. Even with that cracked suspension arm, I was still jumping at 40 feet, doing backflips. It's really a testament to the materials they use in this. As much as we break them, they are pretty incredible for what they do. And I am gonna go through here and give it a little bit of a cleaning while I have it apart, and I will catch you guys in the end. Go over, and I noticed that a couple other things I do want to point out about this. I did get these rubber washers from the local hardware store. They're about a 1/16 of an inch thick. I think it's a 3/8 inch hole, and I did put them on these little stubs here that the body connects to, and they just give a little more cushion, and they stop the chatter you have when you're going around, any of the vibrations. They really seem to help with that. It is a little bit more difficult to get the pins in at times because it takes up some of the space, but it does keep it really secure and stop that rattling around. I have noticed that after doing some rough driving, a lot of these screws in here seem to get loose or can get loose. So I always go through when I have it taken apart and just give them a little tighten to make sure everything is still secure. Give it a little bit of a wipe down and a cleaning in here. Use the air compressor. If you have an air compressor with a nozzle, it really helps for getting all the dust and debris out of here. There's nothing like opening it up and wiping it all down, but the air compressor can really get in a lot of those places that you can't get to. So let's get the wheels back on and finish it off. So I am now just putting in the last screws for the front bumper. So I just got all the screws back in for the front bumper. We'll flip it around. There we have it. New suspension arm installed, ready to go. I am planning on doing a jump off my roof. I want to do a backflip off my roof. That is a goal. So I think tomorrow's looking nice. We're gonna probably do some backflips off the roof. One other thing I want to let you guys know is something I always keep in my tool pouch here is a 7mm wrench. These suspension arms right here, also for the steering arm, the control link, they use a 7mm wrench. It's not a common size in a lot of wrench sets. However, Home Depot sells the Husky 7mm wrench by itself. I think it's like $3, $4 maybe, I can't remember. I will put a link in the description for it, but it's super handy for adjusting these if you ever need to, and it's not a common size found in a lot of sets. They go from 6 to 8, forget 7. There you have it. We just installed a new suspension arm. Here's the cracked one. We have the new one in there, and I have 3 more of these for this one if we break one, and also the Kraton down there if we break one. Seems like it's going to be a common thing to break, especially when you're having hard impacts on the front. Overall, I love this thing. If you guys are thinking about getting one, they are so much fun. I still don't know which one I like better, the Outcast or the Kraton. As close as they are to the same chassis, the extra length on the Kraton makes it handle so much different. I was really surprised at how much different it is. And I do have another video where I discuss that. Also, I will put a link in here. I appreciate you guys watching.